This holiday season, step into the world of Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, the award-winning audio drama podcast from Hope Media Group and Compassion International. Returning for its 2024 season, the classic tale of redemption and forgiveness is brought to life like never before. Whether you are gathered with family or listening solo, Scrooge is the perfect way to embrace the true meaning of Christmas. Feel the power of the season's spirit with a story of transformation and hope. Catch Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, wherever you listen to podcasts, or tune in on ScroogePodcast.com. This year, let the story move you and remind you of the joy of forgiveness and the magic of Christmas. Here's the official trailer.
Scrooge, A Christmas Carol.
Ah, humbug!
Cratchit, you're late!
Jacob Marley, is that you? You will be visited by three spirits on this very eve.
Merely shadows of things that have been.
I am the spirit of Christmas present.
Come with me.
And Merry Christmas!
Scrooge, A Christmas Carol, wherever you hear podcasts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Real Talk with Rachel Autry, where I help you delight in life and find joy right where you are. And I want to emphasize the right where you are. I don't normally stop my intros and zhuzh it in the moment, but here I go to go zhuzh because I am convinced that somebody needs to hear this. You can actually find joy right where you are, no matter what. It is a gift available for you. And before you tap out and you're like, I don't know, Rach, we just met. And also, you don't know my situation. You know, I don't know your situation, but what I do know is that your situation doesn't disqualify you from experiencing a life that you can actually enjoy. And that is exactly why I created this show. I sit down with my friends at my counter, across the table at a coffee shop, bistro, whatever. And in my car, my front seat, and we just talk, and I see them and I catch tears, their tears and my tears, and I just hear about really hard stuff happening. And I just don't want us to believe that that is the end of the story. So I created this podcast a long, long time ago to help you find the tools to be able to actually do joy well, because joy is a skill. Okay, so let's get good at joy, because joy is a heck of a lot of fun. And that is a life that I want to live no matter what. So let me say it again. Welcome to Real Talk with Rachel Autry, where I help you delight in life and find the joy right in front of you, no matter what. I'm emphasizing this a little bit more today because I'm just peeling back a layer of my life and sharing what the last few months have looked like. I feel like I don't know, owe you isn't the right phrase. Maybe this is my offering. I just want to be honest with what the past few months have looked like to invite you into life. And the only reason why I haven't shared it thus far is just for privacy and safety, security. And living a life online is so much fun, but also has this weird boundary of how much do I share and how much do I not share. So I have not shared this yet, but I feel like it is time to share what the last few months have looked like for my life. They've just looked different. They look different. I joked with some of my friends before I get into the why and how I got through it and why I'm celebrating today and sharing all this with you. That I joke with my friends that the past season of my life, and by season of my life, I mean the past few months of my life, I consider a season, because every day I wake up and I think to myself, I'm either going to the ER because I have two little boys, 3 and 2 years old. I'm going to cry in public, or I'm going to lose my SHIT. I will. That is just something that's going to happen once a day. One of those 3 things can happen. And that is such as life, right? So anyways, welcome to the party. Welcome to the mess. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm going to dive into how the heck life has been, the reality of it all. Like I said, inviting you behind the curtain. And then we're going to talk through the challenges that were involved in this, the growth that was involved in those moments that I'll share. Number 2, how the heck did I get through it all? And then number 3, how you can get through things, even if your situation doesn't look like mine. Because it is not a copy paste, but it is a rinse and repeat. I am getting stronger at these tools so that I know how to use them effectively in the future when something not the same, but similar happens again. And so feel free to borrow, use, don't use, apply whatever you want. Okay. But this is for you. And a fun little debrief for me. So for the past few months, I have been at home alone with the boys, which is why I haven't said anything about this online, because it's just kind of sketchy to be like, hi, I'm home alone in my house with my boys. Like, I needed the space and the privacy. And the people that needed to know, they knew. And it's because Thomas has been deployed. He has been away overseas for a few months. We did know that this was happening. I just want to go ahead and answer some like bulleted questions that typically come after I tell people this. It is our first deployment. The boys have had very big emotions, and I'll dive into that a little bit later, what that has looked like and how we've processed it and used just skills with them so that they can process it. It has been really clunky. I'll be honest with you. I'm really tired. I am at the end of the race. I can see the finish line. If you are listening to this on Wednesday, December 11th, then Thomas came home this morning, Lord willing. So yay. Hopefully we are reunited at this point. If you hear this, like, please be the prompt to pray for us, because re-entry and reintegration is a real thing. It's a real thing. So yeah, he has been gone for a few months. We did know that this was happening. We knew about a year ago that this was going to happen. It just snuck up on us, honestly. He has not been gone for long. I mean, okay, here, I'll say this. Relatively, in the military world, it's a very short deployment. But then to like my civilian friends, everyone's like, woof, that is way too many months. And I'm like, I know. So anywho, but it's all relative, and those details don't really matter. And honestly, those are also some details like when he left and when he came back and where he went. All those things we're not really sharing online, just to, again, protect us and our family and our country in weird ways, and what we're doing overseas. So I just wanted to share something close to my heart. And that is just like, honestly, a debrief for sure. But then truly the reason why I'm sharing this is to nod to our village and some of the tools. I keep saying that, but like the literal tools in my tool belt that I used throughout this experience, that I just feel like the Lord has so graciously equipped me with through previous experiences that were similar, from wisdom from friends that have gone before me and done this. And I am just passing him along to you. And here's why. I think that we have been given so many good tools, right? Tools in our tool belt. And let me just name some of them. Like moving our body, right? And therapy. Thank God for therapy. Medication, even sometimes for really hard seasons. Other hard seasons, I feel like it's easy to find comfort in friendship and food and activities and keeping busy. But if we use the tool the wrong way, it actually, it could be working against us. Have you ever tried to use anything you can find in your home as a hammer to hang up a picture frame on the wall that you're really excited to get up on the wall? I have. Hi, hello, my name is Rachel, and I should not be doing house projects. But sometimes if Thomas is gone and I want to hang something, I just like find the closest thing available. And it could be a butter knife, and I'm trying to like get a nail into the wall to be able to hang a piece of, I don't know, a picture that I found on like Facebook Marketplace or a really cool store or whatever, up on my wall for the sake of getting it up. Is the butter knife effective? Maybe, like, it'll do the job, but like I really should have just gone and gotten a hammer. I probably would have had a lot less user error. Okay, maybe I wouldn't have like hit my finger or whatever situation there was. And if I needed to remove the nail, the back of the hammer actually has the tool to remove the nail. And so anyways, the idea is, if you find the right tool to help you in the moments that you need the tool, it actually can help you for the long run. Let's translate that to our life. I think many of us, to carry on with this analogy, are using butter knives and whatever we can get our hands on to be the tool that we need to get the job done, instead of actually knowing what tool works, how to use it, and then applying what we know. And so I want to give you a few actual tools and how I use them to make it to the finish line with my sanity intact. It wasn't easy, but I did it. So when my husband was deployed, I quickly learned that life doesn't pause, it just intensifies. My friend Claire Reeves from Clearly Stated says this, but it's not necessarily that things get taken off of your plate. You just learn how to carry the plate differently. I think of shifting weight. Like if you ever, are doing a workout that requires a little bit heavier weights, the weight doesn't change. Like the amount you're lifting, squatting, bench pressing, whatever, that doesn't change. Your posture does. And that's what actually makes it easier to lift. So life didn't pause. It intensified. And it was very important to me and the people that surrounded me to find rhythms and postures that actually helped us carry the load more easily. So challenges that we faced, the obvious: solo parenting, 2 littles, one while managing like a household. It felt very overwhelming. Navigating really emotional highs and lows for myself, but then also navigating those highs and lows for the boys and having words put to those emotions was really tricky. And then just like missing shared life, shared emotional support, everyday connection with like your best friend and your spouse. It's just weird. Long distance marriage is for the birds. For the birds. It was really, really weird and really hard and clunky. Our connection was not as great as we thought it was going to be. Time zone was very, very tricky because we were on actual different timetables opposite, quite frankly. Like he was sleeping when I was awake and I was sleeping when he was awake. It just didn't work. But can I tell you that there were incredible growth moments too? I learned so much resilience, patience, the beauty of surrender. I learned how to ask for help and I was humbled. So humbled, but I was also very transformed. My faith deepened because I learned to trust God in new ways. And instead of approaching it, I noticed this in myself and I like want to take a moment to call this forward and be like, wow, that was growth. Instead of looking at this as like, wow, I can't wait to get to the finish line. I instead kind of embraced it in this really weird way where I thought to myself, man, I can't wait to know something different on the other side of this than I know right now. Like, what is it between here and there that I could go on a treasure hunt to find? Is it, oh man, I can't wait to like grow more intimately closer to the Lord. Oh man, I can't wait to find creative ways to pursue one another. What am I going to get good at between here and there that is going to bring me life on the other side of this? My friend Claire, gosh, I just spent time with her recently and she just said all these truth bombs and they're just on the top of my head. So Claire, I love you for listening to this. But she said that revelation without application means there's no transformation. So like you have to do something with what you're learning in order to actually yield growth from it. So anyways, this was a whole season of growth because I was forced to have to apply what I was learning because there's no other way around it. So yeah, guys, the way that deployment stretched me, wild, but it also revealed how deeply supported we were by our village. If I didn't know it before, which I did, I truly know it now. Let me just share a few of the ways that they came through and showed up for us. They stepped in magical ways. We could not have made it through without just the kindness, the generosity, the thoughtfulness and intention of other people. And here's how. So I'm sharing this for 2 reasons. Number 1, maybe you're the person that needs help and you need to like coach your village on how to help you, or / you could also be the village and you're wanting to really love on the people that are going through something around you, deployment or not, just like going through something and you're like, man, how do I serve them? How do I practically step in? Let me tell you. We had Bailey Sherman. I love you. She is our home group leader at our church that we go to, Redeemer Community Church here in Birmingham. Amazing. The membership, the fellow members at Redeemer Community Church have carried our family, over the past few months for sure. My friend Bailey, who is in my home group, she set up a sign up Genius, and on the sign up Genius, there were signups to bring meals on certain days of the week that I looked at that I was like, oh, this is clunky. This might be hard. There were signups to help with yard work. There was signups to help come clean my home. There were signups for babysitting nights to just give me a break. It was amazing. I had so many friends, people help me with house chores. Again, like Bailey's husband and one of my other friend Amanda's husbands came over and they brought their own lawnmowers and they tackled our front and backyard and they figured out the leaf situation and they just made it better than they found it. And I'm just so grateful. Or even just like people coming over to my house, seeing the trash was full and taking it out without asking. Like that, those kind of very tangible things seem so small to do the mundane tasks, but the mundane tasks when you're doing them all by yourself add up. So just someone coming in and seeing what needs to be done and doing it was so helpful. Errands and emergency babysitting. There were, remember at what point in the deployment this was, but I remember I like went to go make dinner and I was so excited about making dinner because I mean, I'll just be honest with you, I didn't make a whole lot of dinner. I like prepped dinner and like threw it in a crock pot, or we did a lot of takeout, we did a lot of DoorDash. And then again, these friends were so kind to bring us like warm, nutritious meals that they signed up to bring us. So we got by doing that. But on the nights that I was really excited to make dinner, I like went with my creative surge. So one night it was like, I want to say it was like the beginning part of the deployment. I'm really excited. I go to like take out what was it that I really needed? Ooh, that's right. I needed like this wild rice, that I could have sworn was in my grocery delivery order. And it was definitely not when I went to go look for it. So I freaked out and I was up a creek without a paddle and I didn't know how I was going to do this. And I kind of started to get a little frustrated with myself. I was disappointed. I was like really looking forward to like making my boys one of their favorite meals and my favorite meals to get cozy. And I just had a moment where I felt like the Holy Spirit just prompted me like, hey, ask for help. Like ask for someone to go to the grocery store and get you some rice. And in my mind, I was like, that's so beyond dumb. I'm not going to ask someone to go to the grocery store to get me 2 boxes of rice. That just is like, no, that's borderline embarrassing. And I needed to prove it to myself and to calm my pride, and had to just like take a deep breath, 3 seconds of courage, and send a text to some girls that I'm in a group text with and was like, any chance someone's stopping by Publix? And this one girl was like, hey, I'm actually running errands now. What do you need? And I was like, I really need 2 boxes of this wild grain rice to finish a recipe. And she was like, got it. It'll be on her doorstep. And sure enough, it was on my doorstep. A few days later, my in-laws came into town and just dropped by, which is so wild because they're in South Carolina and we're in Birmingham, Alabama. So like drop by, ha ha ha. But they were in Georgia and they're like, oh my gosh, we're only an hour and a half away. I was like, that's still really far, but they still came. It was so sweet. That which leads me to, yeah, practical help was amazing, but the emotional support was incredible too. Friends that just truly just checked in with a simple, hey, how are you really? Like, how are you? Scale 1 to 10. How was today? I got texts and care packages and surprise porch deliveries, like snacks and sweet flowers. And some friends that were like, hey, I picked up a box of Uncrustables at Costco for you and the boys. I'm like, thank you. Invites to play dates and family dinners so that we wouldn't feel so isolated, and just people to keep me company on moments that otherwise would have been really lonely. I'm thinking about my college small group girls. They come over on Wednesday nights and is it Wednesday nights? Yeah, it's Wednesday. I was like, Wednesday or Thursday? Wednesday nights they come over and we do dessert and coffee and we just go over some of our Bible study curriculum that we're doing. And, you know, it could just be that, right? Like, and that is an honorable way to do a Bible study. But my life verse and something I live life by is 1 Thessalonians 2:8. And it says, for I was delighted to share with you not only the gospel of God, but my life as well, because you've become so dear to me. And it's this idea that like, I love these girls so much that I want to serve them, and serving them also looks like being honest with them and giving them opportunities to serve my family in return, and not as a transaction, but as an overflow. I'm like, hey, this is what it looks like to do life with someone. This is what the discipline of showing up looks like. Like, let me invite you into it. Let me introduce you to it. Let me be an example of it. And then maybe I'll give you opportunities to step in the same way. And y'all, the ways that these girls stepped up. Oh my gosh. These 6 cutie patootie college girls came over to my house and helped me decorate for Christmas. I know, it's so sweet. So like right before Thanksgiving, before they went on their little fall break, they all came over. We turned on the holiday. We made hot cocoa. They helped me put up Christmas trees and ornaments and some lights, and like they got my boxes out of my garage for me. Just was so beyond kind and thoughtful, and really like they just wanted to bust out of their dorm rooms, you know? And I'm like, okay, well then come over to my house and help. They're like, say no more, we'll be there. It was just so sweet. Like the symbiosis, symbiotic, I don't know, whatever that word, how like we fed each other with service, which was really, really sweet. And then, yeah, there was also just like unexpected blessings, like my in-laws stopping by, which for some people you're like, that is not a blessing. That is unexpected, but it's not a blessing. I'm like, okay. I have a very sweet dynamic with my in-laws. So like it actually was an unexpected blessing. But people sending flowers on a special or a weird day, a friend organizing a fun outing to create some happy memories for the kids, and notes of encouragement that felt like lifelines on those really tough nights, or people that were like, hey, I'm just thinking about you, and sent me a voice message prayer. So many amazing things. And then the last thing that I did that I think a year ago, Rachel would never have done, but I'm really, really grateful I did. At the beginning of Thomas being gone, I kind of just like tried life as we knew it. We did the same rhythms, we did the same things, and I made mental notes of areas or days or times of the day that just did not work. I was like, oh, this is not working. Actually, if you recall a few weeks ago on and also our Friday mini episodes that we do, I talked about like taking inventory over your life and figuring out what doesn't work and then going ahead and fixing it, like figuring it out and changing it instead of just like figuring out what you don't like and just sticking with it. That's obnoxious. So change it, like figure out a way around it, get savvy. So go ahead and listen to that episode for a little bit more of an explanation. But I did life as I knew it right after Thomas left. And then I looked at all the things that just felt really weird and bulky. One of them was I think I'll list two of them. One of them was like on Monday afternoons, I take the boys to the chiropractor appointment. And instead I just asked one of my cutie college friends, I was like, could you potentially just take the boys to this appointment? Like you're literally just chauffeuring them there. They're getting adjusted and then you're chauffeuring them back home. But it buys me an hour of me time that I can use to prep dinner, clean the house or mop the floors or just sit and scroll. Like it gave me an hour to myself, which was so nice, right? And then the other thing that felt really bulky at first that we figured out a way around is Oliver's, it was Maddox's. Yeah, Maddox's swim lessons were like in the middle of nap time. And Maddox doesn't really need a nap anymore, but he really does, if you know what I mean. And then Oliver definitely needs a nap still in the afternoon because he's 2. So I usually had to like wake the boys up from their nap and then to get them in the car to drive 20 minutes to swim lessons that were only 30 minutes and then get back in the car and come back home. And then everybody was just cranky and it just didn't work. And so I found a girl who was available and was like, will you sit at home with Oliver for an hour and a half so that I can go and take Maddox to his swim lesson without having to wake Oliver up? And she was like, I would be honored. So she came and did that for me. You just realize when you have a spouse missing, or honestly, just anybody in life you're used to doing life with. It could be a parent, a roommate, a best friend, a sister, whoever that you're used to doing life with. And then something happens where they're no longer available. You figure out what's hard very quickly. So I want to tie this back because I kind of updated you with as much as I'm able to update you with now. I gave you some of the practical help and like ways to be supported emotionally and physically and relationally and all the things. But while deployment is hard and these acts kept us afloat, honestly, they inspired me to think about how we could be that village for somebody else, or how you could maybe need that village without deployment being a part of the picture, especially if you're connected to a military family. There you go. Here we go. These things happen. But I do believe that you can show up for other people in meaningful ways despite what their weird season looks like. So here are a few that I hope you just take away from this. Number 1, just be present. Okay. Like send a thinking of you text, drop off a small treat, ask them if they just need anything, leave it open-ended, and then follow up after a big life event. I'm thinking of the people that were so kind and sweet and just like kept me company, or took the boys the afternoon that we dropped Thomas off at base so I could just process and breathe. So sweet, especially after the adrenaline settles and the initial rush is over. You're just left with thoughts that really need processing. Offer specific help if you have an idea. So instead of saying like, hey, let me know if you need anything, maybe offer something specific like, hey, I'm free on Wednesday to babysit or bring you dinner. Or, hey, I'm bringing you a meal. Do you prefer breakfast, lunch, or dinner? Like things like that that are a little bit more closed-ended and not so open-ended can be more helpful than pushy. And here's why, is when someone is in a really weird space, and maybe you can agree because you've been that person, but you're in a really weird space. Imagine they're like trying to wade water and just like keep afloat in the deep end. And you being like, hey, let me know if you need anything. They're kind of like gasping for air already. They're not going to put in the extra energy to think about like what they need and how you would get it to them and all the logistics. But instead, if you're like, hey, here's a lifeline, and you just threw it into the pool, chances are they'd take it, or like, here's a life jacket, and like, boom, they would take it. So offer them that life jacket. Also, celebrate their small wins. The moments that people saw something and called it out in me was so powerful because chances are I was surviving and I didn't see the ways that God was showing himself to me, or wins that we had that I just kind of like passed by so easily. So even just like a simple card, oh my gosh, an old school card, beautiful. Flowers, heck yeah. A thoughtful gift like a chocolate bar. I mean, just anything that says, hey, I see you and I'm celebrating you. You're doing this and I'm so proud. Huge, huge. Create community moments, okay? Especially if you're trying to love on a parent, because can I tell you, the most life-giving moments the past few months have been the ones where I'm actually around adults, because most of my days were around little men and I just needed some estrogen and I needed somebody older than 18 years old just in my day, So anyways, maybe like host a girl night dinner and help her figure out, I'm thinking like, let's say you're trying to love on a mama friend, like host a girl night dinner, invite her over and help her figure out childcare. Maybe schedule a play date, right? Like, hey, let's go to the park. We need to get out. We need to get some fresh air. Maybe do a coffee gathering. And then last but certainly not least is just pray for them. Send them a scripture or maybe a podcast episode or a song that's been on your heart that made you think of them. Anytime you think of them, it's not a coincidence. The moments that people texted me were some, let me rephrase. It was oddly strange. The moments that felt the most dark. Either my mind was playing games on me and I didn't feel safe. The enemy was trying to have a foothold in my life or my marriage or my ministry. And I just was feeling really attacked and I didn't have my counterpart to do life with, so that, no one was in the home with me seeing the tears in my eyes and like seeing how hard something was. The ways that people were prompted by the Holy Spirit to text me at those divine moments, to interject, to intercept, to intercede, and to be like, absolutely not, we're shutting this down. You're on my mind. What's up? Holy. Those were holy moments. No one sees me on the bathroom floor. No one sees me crying in my car. No one sees those moments, but God does. God does. And I want to say that to you too. God sees you. He knows you. He loves you and he likes you and he wants the best for you. And he uses people around you to give you faith to borrow, to give you peace and hope and joy to borrow when you feel dark and dull. And he also prompts people to love on you. I don't want you to miss the prompting because you're so stuck in darkness. So, one, if you're the person that needs the prayer, see and believe that it's happening. And then two, if you're the person that has the energy to pray and encourage, be the friend to pray and encourage, to send the promptings and to follow those nudges that are on your heart. So when I think back over the past few months in my husband's deployment, I see not just struggles. And honestly, it was really hard, but the hard is not what marks the season for me. What marks the season for me is the outpouring of love that held us together. It's the reminder that none of us are meant to do life alone. And maybe today's episode has you thinking about someone in your life who might just need some extra support. And if that's you, I pray you follow the prompting and I encourage you to take that small step, because showing up, even in small ways, like a chocolate bar or an old school card, or asking them if you can take their car through the car wash and fill it up with gas. Like anything can change everything. Ugh, y'all. I cannot wait. I'm like already anticipating being able to see Thomas, and it's so cool to think by the time this episode goes live, chances are I've already been able to like lay my hands on him and hug him. I'm so grateful for him and his yes to serve our country. I'm so thankful for all the military families out there. I understand the sacrifice in ways I wish I didn't have to. To be able to have a freedom to talk about who God is and what he's doing in my life in such a public platform like this, online, and unapologetically, literally in front of a microphone, talk about Jesus, I am just so grateful. And it's because brave people go before us and create the space and the margin and the way for us to say yes, to show up in our lives obediently and praise God for those people and the calling on their life too. So if that's you and you are a military family, spouse, brother, sister, have someone you love that has served or is serving our country, I am with you, I am for you, and let this be a reminder and a prompting for all of us to go and like unapologetically pursue the people in our lives that are going through something hard, but also a prompting just to pray for the people that are serving our country. Truly also want to say that the ways that some of you online have encouraged me without even knowing what's going on behind the scenes here has meant the world. And so I want to say thank you if you've connected with me on Instagram. If you've just been listening to the podcast, I hope this gives you a little bit more context into the crazy and the chaotic. And I cannot wait to bring you Friday's mini episode of Oh and Also. So tune in on Friday. Make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast so you don't miss any of the notifications that come your way. And I'm going to list out some names here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask ChatGPT, be like, give me a list. Hold on, let me say. Give me a list of common but fun names for girls. Okay, if I read your name, this is your prompt to go leave a review right now. Ava, Emma, Olivia, Sophia, Isabella, Charlotte, Amelia, Lily, Ella, or Grace. If any of those names are your name, that is your reminder to go leave us a 5-star review and rating if you have not yet already. Our team reads those, screenshots those, sends them in our group message, and we get giddy. Okay, it sends us to orbit. And so I want to be able to hear what you think about the show, what's touching you, what do you love? Make sure you go leave a review, and I'll see you on Friday for an Oh and Also. Thanks so much for listening to another episode with us. It would mean the most if you took 30 seconds and left us a 5-star review in whatever platform that you're listening in right now. It's one of the best and free ways that you can love on us. So don't forget that anything we mention in today's episode, from resources, products, and more, can all be found in our show notes at realtalkwithrachel.com. For more updates, behind the scenes, and fun chats, head over to Instagram and follow us at Real Talk Podcast.